Beast world, sweet pet, warm, healing, daily life. Tang Qingqing woke up and put on a beast world text that she had read about being eunuchs. Becoming the control group for the female protagonist in the text, no matter how smart and talented the female protagonist is, she will have as much waste as herself. In fact, as the control group for the female lead, it's also quite good. As long as you can survive, it's not a problem to continue lying flat and being a salted fish. The ultimate goal of a salted fish is to live to death in this harsh natural environment of the animal world. Keywords of the novel. Animal world farming. After dressing up as the control group, I salted the fish without a pop-up window. Animal world farming. After dressing up as the control group, I salted the fish. Download the complete TXT collection. Animal world farming. After dressing up as the control group, I salted the fish. Read the latest chapter. Chapter 1. Entering the Beast World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Entering the Beast World in the Orc continent, the first major market after the warm season arrived. Tang Qingqing, who had just crossed the animal world for half a month, was forced to sit on the field of wandering orc blind dates and duels, with a slightly black-skinned female sitting beside her, watching with relish the fierce fighting between the two males in the middle of the grassland. They were surrounded by beautiful females wearing animal skin skirts and holding flowers. This lively place is also an annual blind date venue for stray orcs. Because wandering orcs cannot enter tribes freely, and females are rarely protected by each tribe from leaving their territory, wandering orcs can only come to the first major market in spring each year for females to choose from during the blind date competition ceremony specially held for them. In the center of the grassland square, two tall males are fighting, and although neither orc has committed suicide, the intensity of the fight can still be seen. Screams of surprise emanated from the female onlookers, accompanied by admiration for the brave male orcs and regret for the weaker side. From time to time, females around me say things like, "It's a pity. He's so handsome but not brave enough, but that brave male looks very average. How should I choose this?" Females occasionally make such annoying sounds. The wandering male orc who won a fight was taken away by a female who appeared to be in her 20s after sending flowers to accept. At this moment, a burly and handsome male emerged from outside the waiting area, fighting against a muscular male in the middle of the lawn square. This handsome male fights with great courage and showcases his own advantages to the fullest. It's no wonder that Black Sister has 3 tall brothers in her original body, and he can't take his eyes off this male. When the male finally punched his opponent, the surrounding females let out bursts of cheers, and then rushed to thrust the flowers they were holding into the male's hand. Sitting on the periphery, the Black Sister.in.law suppressed her desire to rush up and offer flowers. She nudged Tang Qingqing beside her with her elbow and said, "Send the flowers in your hand quickly. This excellent and brave male will be taken away by other females." The Black Sister.in.law turned her head and looked at Tang Qingqing, who was sitting there as calm as a mountain. She slapped her arm angrily and frowned in spite of Tang Qingqing's pain. A barrage of words rushed towards her. "Are you still thinking about Lang Yu? Last time he pushed you onto a tree and almost killed you. Have you not given up yet? You still have to cling to him and wait for him to change his mind. I'll tell you, Qingqing, you've been an adult for a long time, and if you don't find any males to support you like this, I won't let your brothers send you food either." After the Black Sister.in.law finished shelling Tang Qingqing's chest, she paused for a moment and said, "I don't care this time. If you don't find 2 or 3 males for me to take care of you in this big market, I will send you the most messy and weak males in the tribe to the cave and force them to marry you. I will keep my promise." "Oh my, I'm so angry." After finishing speaking, the Black Sister.in.law, who had infuriated herself half to death, stood up and patted her buttocks before leaving to seek comfort from her male companion. Tang Qingqing sat there with her chin in her arms, as if the surrounding liveliness had nothing to do with her. The male just now may have been one of the official partners of the female protagonist in the book. She's not looking for a dead end to send flowers. Tang Qingqing already knew that she was wearing a Beast World text, because this Beast World text only wrote about the female protagonist wearing it and slowly growing up. Just when she was about to show off her skills, the author had eunuch 1, and Tang Qingqing didn't know what would happen in this Beast World in the future. Tang Qingqing suspects that the character design of the original character may be due to the author's portrayal of how Lang Yu, one of the male protagonists in the book, is cold and indifferent to other females, highlighting various differences in her portrayal. She is a tool for comparison, with deep affection and dedication. Tang Qingqing patted her swollen head and decided not to think about these things that had not yet happened. The most important thing now was to ensure the stability and unity of her brother's family and not argue over her own affairs. She was preparing to go out and look for any male orcs willing to be temporary followers, so she decided to deal with her black sister. In law first, which was the most important thing. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The Height of Inferiority. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 2. The Height of Inferiority. At a quiet spot outside the orcs' matchmaking square, two male orcs are leaning against a tree chatting. I say you are also a wandering orc. You said that Qingqing, the dead leopard, is very cunning. You know this is the only chance for us wandering orcs to find a female couple once a year. But the day before, he took advantage of my grandfather's lack of attention and scratched my face. He was afraid that my beautiful and prosperous face would make his ugly face stand out. I'll fuck his uncle's dead black panther. I'm not finished with him. The male with several blood claw marks on his face spoke fiercely, making his face look extremely ugly. After talking for a while, he saw the tall male sitting opposite him not even giving him a glance, so he angrily turned his gaze to one side. At this moment, he noticed a slightly chubby female standing there, holding a bouquet of flowers in her hand. Tang Qingqing had been standing there for a while. She searched around but couldn't find a suitable male. She didn't know how to explain to her black sister. In law when she saw the male with several scars on his face turn his head to look at her. Little female, why don't you go over there and choose a male? There are no handsome wandering males here for you to choose from. Xianzhou's thin lips revealed a sarcastic curve and spoke harshly. Tang Qingqing heard this scratched male say these words and turned around to want to leave. Xianzhou looked at the cute little female not far in front of him, her eyes watery, her lips pink, and her cheeks plump. When he heard what he said, he turned around as if he was about to leave, and he wanted to raise his hand and hit her mouth. Take a good opportunity to get close to the little female, but because of her cheap mouth and annoyance, I can't say anything about calling her not to leave and saving face. Just as Xianzhou was about to catch up in frustration, he saw Tang Qingqing turn around and come back. Tang Qingqing had just wanted to leave, but also wanted to find a male orc who didn't like her. He was the best for himself, so he walked up to Xianzhou and looked at him. He said straightforwardly, I want to find a male, pretend to be my follower for a period of time, and the longest time is only 3 months. Would you like it? Xuanzhou just heard Tang Qingqing say he wanted to find a male. At that time, his heart was filled with passion. Upon hearing the words behind him, his heart fell into an ice cellar and froze there, without any reaction for a moment. Xuanzhou's reaction has nothing to do with love, it's just a wandering male orc's desire for home. Only when the female is truly willing to marry them will the wandering orc be accepted by the tribe and become a truly homely orc. Tang Qingqing didn't react when she saw Xianzhou, thinking he didn't want to. This time, she turned around and was actually preparing to leave, thinking of searching elsewhere. If a suitable male orc cannot be found, even if her original brothers argue with black sister-in-law over her, she will have no choice. Can you take a look at me? A sudden sentence successfully stopped Tang Qingqing's footsteps. Tang Qingqing had been paying attention to Xianzhou, whose face was covered in scratches and obvious injuries, but did not notice another male leaning against a tree with Xianzhou. This sentence completely caught Tang Qingqing's attention. Tang Qingqing turned her head and saw a tall, muscular man with broad shoulders and broad body sitting there like a stone pagoda. However, his head was slightly pounded and his face was covered by hair, making it difficult to see his appearance clearly. It doesn't matter whether Tang Qingqing looks good or bad. She doesn't really want to find a male orc to live with, and she's not afraid of finding a male with ulterior motives. Because females are very rare in the animal world, the ratio of females to males in orcs has reached almost 1/20. If his brain heats up and harms himself, he will not only become a public enemy of the entire orc world, but even the place where wandering orcs exist will have no place for him in the future. If they are lucky enough not to be killed, they will only become fallen orcs and live in the depths of the forest for a long time with wild beasts. Tang Qingqing believes that as long as a male orc with a normal brain is willing to pay such a great price to harm a female, he has no grievances or grudges with him. Now Tang Qingqing believes that all he needs to do is talk to this male and check if he is a normal brain male. So she walked up to the male and instinctively took a step back, because even if the male was sitting, he was almost as tall as his chest. Tang Qingqing felt that her original height of about 1.7 meters was probably considered a dwarf here, even her black sister. In-law was 1 head taller than her. Now it's even more damaging to my self-esteem, even when I sit there, I'm almost 2/3 taller than myself. No wonder I didn't even find a female supporting role in this Beast World text, let alone the female lead. What else do you need for a bicycle at this height? Just make the cannon fodder that sets off the female lead. Getting boxed lunch early is also good, isn't it good to be like yourself, a salted fish with no ideals, free time, and money? After taking a step back and standing firm, Tang Qingqing didn't want this male anymore. Not to mention anything else, his strong and burly body, as well as his damn height, gave people a sense of oppression. She's crazy to find a male like this to spend a few months with. Is it because she finds it difficult to find someone like this with her neck? She looks up and talks to him every day to exercise her neck. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. 2 Males. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. 2 males. Li Xiao sat straight through his hair and saw Tang Qingqing's round little face showing a hint of retreat. His blue eyes flickered for a moment. My arm has been broken for a while now, and I urgently need to enter the tribe to find a witch doctor to help me connect it. If it's too late, I'm afraid I'll become disabled. Li Xiao didn't care why Tang Qingqing wanted to find a short-term follower, but this was an opportunity for him to enter the tribe and seek treatment from a witch doctor for his arm. He didn't want to give up. So the person who usually speaks very little said for the first time, I am willing to go back with you and pretend to be your follower, and I swear to the beast god that I will not harm you, and I promise to protect and take care of you during this period. I've been listening to you all this time, what else do you have to hesitate about? Tang Qingqing thought for a moment and realized that what this male said made a lot of sense. It seemed that he could fulfill all his demands according to what he said. What else did she refuse? All right. No way. A crisp and pleasant voice was drowned out by an urgent male roar. You stinky tiger, before I could react, you actually pried my little female. She asked me first. Xuanjiu, who finally realized his reaction, heard the conversation between the two and then jumped out to oppose it. His dark eyes looked at Tang Qingqing with a deep tone, and his voice was somewhat aggrieved, saying, You asked me first. I haven't said I don't want to, why do you want to find someone else? With this melancholic tone and an aggrieved expression on his face, Tang Qingqing inexplicably felt a bit guilty, as if he was the scumbag who had not yet broken up with the other person and had to find another one. Moreover, what this male said was the fact that he had asked him first, and he did not say that he did not want to be his temporary follower. Perhaps he was considering it, but she arrogantly believed that he did not agree. Tang Qingqing was a bit confused about what to do now. One was the male he asked himself first, and others didn't say they didn't want to. A person who had just spoken out, agreed, and had also stood up and walked to their side, as if they were going back with them. Tang Qingqing turned her head to look at this one, turned her head to look at that one, and looked at the two tall and robust males with deep eyes looking at her. Tang Qingqing had a feeling of running away with his head hugged. Just when Tang Qingqing wanted to discuss with them, or else she wouldn't want both of them. Let's take a gamble and see if she'll be beaten badly by them. Qingqing. 3 males and a slightly black-faced female walked over. The male at the forefront was anxious to grab Tang Qingqing's arm, but was grabbed by a large hand like an iron claw on his wrist. Tang Qingqing's third brother looked at the male who had caught him in surprise, and his expression changed as he wanted to take action. Tang Qingqing quickly grabbed the arms of the two people and said, "Calm down, third brother." Li Xiao heard Tang Qingqing calling out for the male third brother he had caught, and immediately let go of his big hand, bowing his head and retreating behind Tang Qingqing. Tang Qingqing's third brother, however, did not ignore him. He looked at Tang Qingqing in confusion and asked, "Who is he?" Tang Qingqing, who was seen feeling a bit guilty, took a step back. She didn't notice this step herself, and her whole body seemed to be in the arms of Li Xiao behind her. Before Qingchuan could hear Tang Qingqing's reply, he heard a familiar voice in his ear. "Third brother, don't scare Qingqing. I'll tell you." Qingchuan looked at the male with scratches all over his face, and his face turned even darker. "Who are you?" "I was the first male selected by Qingqing just now." Xuanjiu seemed afraid that Qingchuan wouldn't believe him, so he pulled Tang Qingqing over to him and said, "You come tell third brother, am I the first male you chose?" Not only did Qingchuan's face turn black this time, but even the older brothers Qingshan and Qinghe, who were standing on the side, looked at Tang Qingqing disapprovingly. Even the dark-skinned sister Law walked over and said earnestly, "Qingqing, even if you really can't let go of Langyue, don't look for such an ugly male. My sister Law just said that to ask you to choose a few brave and handsome males to be your companions on the Pai Do Square. How could you choose this scarred male?" Xuanjiu, who was despised for his ugly appearance, had an instant crack on his face. He was ugly, as a male fox, he was ugly. What a joke. It was because he looked so good that Kunshin's dead Black Panther teamed up with 7 or 8 powerful males to scratch his face before competing with females for blind dates. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Being laid on by 2 males. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Being laid on by 2 males. Tang Qingqing looked at her 3 older brothers with a resentful expression, feeling frantic inside. She also didn't know how things would turn out like this. Both males had to follow her back now, and there was no orc with a humble heart. She even said that she didn't want either of them anymore and was ready to give them a fight to calm down, so this matter was considered a thing of the past. But at some point, the bouquet of flowers he was holding in his hand ended up in the hands of 2 males, and they seemed to have reached some kind of agreement, even turning the bouquet into half for one person. "Now I say I don't want them anymore." The 2 of them brought the flowers to their 3 brothers and said that the rule for wandering orcs to have an annual blind date on the square is for females to send out the flowers, and males to accept them. So they either become partners or become the most intimate followers recognized by females, which is the principle that flowers that have not been sent out, will be accepted and then regretted. Tang Qingqing wanted to say that the flowers were not given to them by her, but were taken by these 2 shameless males who didn't know when they were not paying attention. Xuanjiu didn't like to hear these words anymore, so he asked her, "Have you ever told me that you want to find a male? Are you asking me if I'm willing to go?" Tang Qingqing was not a person with lofty aspirations in her past and present lives, and she also wouldn't lie. Although Xuanjiu automatically filtered out the middle part, leaving only the first and last sentences, these 2 sentences were also spoken by herself, and Tang Qingqing couldn't deny them. She raised her head to look at the tall and weak male with a weak gaze, hoping that he would have a bit of humility and take the initiative to withdraw. She then took the male with a face full of flowers caught back and dealt with him for a period of time before releasing him as well. When the time comes, I will also become familiar with this world. As for whether or not to find a male to live in the future, that will be the matter in the future. Li Xiao saw the watery eyes of the little female looking at him, and for some reason, his heart was filled with a sensation of a heart beating wildly. He quickly averted his gaze. I said I would listen to you for everything in the future, and you agreed. Since everything has been settled, you can go back if you want. If in the entire world of orcs, females can have more orc husbands, and if they don't want that partner, they won't want that couple. Then the entire world of orcs won't be chaotic. Li Xiao's words not only received the approval of a group of male orcs who had just surrounded him, but even Tang Qingqing's 3 brothers couldn't help but nod. They already have partners themselves, and if their partners don't want them at will, they may also go crazy and want to destroy the world. She asked, and the flower was also taken from her hand. At that time, she did not object to shouting and refused to let others take the flower from her hand. So now she's going back on her word. Even after Tang Qingqing's 3 brothers were convinced by Li Xiao's words, no one helped her anymore. In the end, regardless of whether Tang Qingqing was willing or not, Li Xiao and Xianjiu were allowed to be brought back to the Moon Tribe by her 3 brothers, and Tang Qingqing's opposition was ineffective. They were originally planning to go back tomorrow, but now their younger sister has chosen a male, and it's still early. Big brother Qing Shan has decided to go back to the tribe today. When Tang Qingqing came, she was carried to the market by her 3rd brother's beast body. When she returned, Tang Qingqing's black sister Law refused to let her partner carry other females, and her sister also refused. In this world, females have a strong possessiveness towards their partners. Originally, Tang Qingqing did not have her own male, and black sister-in-law had no choice. Isn't it now? Her family's partner is her alone. Black sister-in-law pushed Tang Qingqing towards Li Xiao and Xianjiu and said, my own female carries it on her own. Otherwise, what's the use of asking them? Li Xiao did not refute what Tang Qingqing's sister-in-law said. He transformed into a huge cloud-winged white tiger orc, enduring the pain in his front legs and lying down to let Tang Qingqing climb onto his back. You're injured, let me carry her on my back. Tang Qingqing was initially surprised by the huge beast body of Li Xiao. Upon hearing what Xianjiu said and following his gaze, he realized that the front legs of Li Xiao's beast body were twisted unnaturally. As a caring modern person, she certainly wouldn't choose to sit on the injured Li Xiao. Xuanjiu saw Tang Qingqing turn his head to look at him and understood that the little female had chosen to sit on his beast. Her happy mouth was about to grin behind her ears, and she immediately transformed into a beast. Tang Qingqing stared blankly at Xianjiu's beast body, feeling a sense of fantasy. His deep black long hair was pointed at a white point, and the most surprising thing was the 9 silver tails swaying in the air behind him. This is the 9-tailed black fox, also known as the silver fox, in the legend of Do Tuo. Seeing Tang Qingqing looking at Xuanjiu's beast body with joy and surprise, Li Xiao felt a bit disappointed in his heart for some reason. He remembered that when the little female saw his huge beast body just now, only surprise appeared on her face. She also saw Tang Qingqing climbing onto Xianjiu's back to carry him, and Li Xiao's heart felt even more stuffy. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Black Sisters 3 Views Have Fallen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Black Sisters 3 Views Have Fallen. Tang Qingqing sat on Xianjiu's back, looking greedily at his long hair. Unable to resist, she secretly touched it, and the comfortable touch in her hand made Tang Qingqing squint her eyes. This scene happened to be caught by Li Xiao, who had been following her closely. The snow-white tiger, like a small mountain, squinted its eyes in displeasure, revealing a hint of danger. Xuanjiu, who was carrying Tang Qingqing, couldn't help but feel a cold current coming towards him. Xuanjiu shook his body, saying that spring had already begun for a long time and there shouldn't be any cold air. Tang Qingqing's elder brother is a golden lion orc, and his black sister-in-law sits on his back with a certain aura. The other 2 brothers carry the items they exchanged at the big market. Black sister.in.law is probably very happy because Tang Qingqing has chosen a male, and no one will compete with her for the attention of her own male in the future. Seeing Tang Qingqing sitting on Xuanzhou's body, he didn't forget to comment on Xuanzhou. Qingqing, although the male you have chosen looks a bit ugly, his beast body is really good. If you dislike his face when mating with him in the future, you can match his beast body. Black sister.in.law. Tang Qingqing heard the black sister.in.law speak more and more outrageously, even shouting out the nickname he had given her in his heart. He quickly interrupted, sister.in.law, Qingqing is still young, let's talk about this kind of thing in the future. The black sister.in.law disagrees with this statement. How come you're still young? You've been an adult for 3 or 4 years. Look at how many females like you in the tribe haven't found a male yet, and they still have to be raised by their parents and brothers. That is to say, your brothers are sorry for you, saying that you have lost your father and mother since childhood, and are willing to take care of you when you reach adulthood. Look at the little female in the tribe who has lost her father and mother beast. When she reaches adulthood, she doesn't have to find a few males to raise her early on. It's just because you've been stubborn for so many years, chasing after Langyue. I almost got hit and killed by Langyue pushing me onto a big tree this time. If it weren't for my insistence on asking you to come to the big market to find a male, your brothers would have let you play around. If Tang Qingqing hadn't spent the past half-month together knowing that this black sister.in.law was a careless female who usually treated her well, she would have felt that her black sister.in.law had any grudges or grievances against her. Although she didn't really find 2 males to go back and be partners, black sister didn't know. She just said in front of the 2 males she had just brought back that she was the original owner, now she is also her. For a male who hasn't found a partner for so many years, she kept pestering, and in the end, almost got pushed up a tree and killed, which made others dislike her. Is this really good? Chuanya, you're thirsty after saying so much. Do you want to drink some water? Perhaps Qingchuan also felt that his sister.in.law was saying this in front of Li Xiao and Xianjiu. His sister's dark history was not very good, so he turned the conversation around and asked her if she wanted to drink water. Sure enough, Mrs. Black's attention was drawn to Tang Qingqing's third brother. Tang Qingqing gave her a grateful glance at the third brother, and Qingchuan gave her a reassuring look. It was evident that the brothers in the original body were really good to her. Unfortunately, the original body had already been casually pushed and killed by that Langyue on that big tree, and now the soul in the body is from another world of oneself. Tang Qingqing dare not tell his 3 brothers that Ginchen is really dead, not because he is afraid of what they will do to him. But it was Tang Qingqing who knew that several brothers in the original book went to seek revenge for Yuan Shen after learning of her death, and ultimately ended up with 1 death and 2 injuries. Out of his possessive desire to temporarily follow the little female, Xianjiu couldn't help but mutter with some relish, Langyue, are you really so good? You're willing to do it for him, not looking for a male partner for so long after reaching adulthood. Xianjiu grinned in pain and said, what are you doing? Why are you pulling the hair off my neck? Tang Qingqing stared at her watery big eyes, her long eyelashes curled up, looking cute and watery. Speak less, hurry more. Can't I go home early? If you say more, I'll still scratch your hair. Li Xiao, who was not far away from them, saw Xianjiu eating his stomach, and the depression in his heart finally dissipated slightly. Is Langyue true? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Overnight on the road. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Overnight on the road. The Moon tribe where Tang Qingqing and her companions lived was 3 days away from the market. As they were not in a hurry, Qing Shan chose to stop by a clear stream when the sun was setting westward. Stopping in a place with water for convenience, Xianjiu squatted down and Tang Qingqing got off his back. He couldn't help but touch the furry fox ear that she had been longing for so long. Xuanzhou was completely stunned by Tang Qingqing's touch, and his eyes were deep as he looked at her. Tang Qingqing dared not look at him and quickly ran to the creek, holding a handful of water to wash his face. Seeing Tang Qingqing Xuanjiu, who had fled, transform into a person with red ears behind him and raise a beautiful corner of his mouth. Xuanjiu didn't know what was wrong with him. The more he looked at this little female, the cuter she became. Although she didn't look as beautiful as their fox female, every time he saw her, he felt inexplicably happy in his heart. Perhaps this is what the old beasts say, her chubby body and cute little face, all of which have caught her eye. Li Xiao saw the smile on Xuanjiu's face beside him, and his blue eyes flickered before calming down. At this moment, Tang Qingqing's second brother walked over and looked at the two of them, asking, "Your name is Li Xiao, and his name is Xuanjiu, right?" Li Xiao and Xuanjiu nodded and answered. Yes. Qinghe patted the shoulders and chests of the two people to confirm that they were sturdy enough, and nodded in satisfaction. From now on, his younger sister will not go hungry with them, and the older brothers can rest assured. Li Xiao and Xuanjiu saw the satisfaction in Qinghe's eyes and understood that he was checking whether their bodies were strong enough to bring a better life to his sister in the future. The two of them were also very happy to receive the affirmation from Qinghe. Although Li Xiao and Xuanjiu now understand that they are not yet Tang Qingqing's true close followers, who can say for sure what will happen in the future. After being satisfied with them, Qinghe looked at the two of them with a smile and said, "We're going hunting in the forest ahead. Look who of you is going with us." Xuanjiu glanced at Li Xiao, who had transformed into a human body. One arm showed an obvious unnatural droop, and it was probably a broken bone. "I'll go with you." Li Xiao did not show off his strength to fight against Xuanjiu, because he was not suitable to fight large beasts now because he was injured and usually only hunted small prey to avoid further damage to his arms. The most tragic thing for male orcs in the world of orcs is not death, but becoming disabled after being injured. Not only will they be despised by females for not giving them any more offspring, but their future lives will also not be guaranteed. Unless your own offspring has reached adulthood, even if you are disabled, there will still be relatives around to take care of you, which is why every male wants to have their own offspring. Li Xiao, who had stayed behind, was not idle either. He went to a nearby small forest and brought back a large bundle of firewood, which was enough for them to use tonight. Tang Qingqing saw Black Sister take out a piece of animal skin and lay it on the grass, and then went up to rest. Tang Qingqing felt a bit itchy on her body. She hadn't taken a shower for several days, and she even felt a smell on her body. Taking advantage of the absence of the males, she took a soft piece of animal skin and walked towards the stream. Black Sister-in-law saw it and asked, "Qingqing, where are you going?" "Sister-in-law, I'll go wash by the stream for a while and then come back." Black Sister-in-law advised, "Don't go too far. Your brothers are not here, and the one left behind is still an injured male. Be careful not to encounter wild animals and there may be danger." "Okay, I got it." Tang Qingqing knew that this Black Sister-in-law was a person who spoke without intention, so she didn't want them to worry because she didn't find a male. Black Sister-in-law sometimes treats her so harshly because her original personality was dull and unsociable before, and she always entangled with the first warrior in the tribe, Lang Yu. Even after 4 years of adulthood, she didn't find a male and let her brothers take care of her, so she was mocked by many orcs in the tribe. When Tang Qingqing arrived at the creek, she was also afraid that the wilderness would not be safe. She just wet herself with soft animal skin and quickly washed herself. Then, she sat on a stone and placed her feet in the stream. The cool stream water made her squint comfortably. After finishing the firewood, Li Xiao passed by and saw this scene. His footsteps paused for a moment before continuing forward. Tang Qingqing was originally startled when he heard something moving behind him. He quickly turned his head and saw that it was Li Xiao. It was only then that he took a deep breath and let his heart rest. Li Xiao held on to his long silver hair, still unable to see his face clearly. "Did I scare you?" Tang Qingqing shook her head and said, "It's not because of you. I thought it was a wild beast, that's why I was startled." Li Shaoan nodded to indicate that he knew, and then carried the firewood back to their resting place. He took out 2 black stones from his arms and vigorously collided with each other to create sparks, igniting a clump of pine fir. Then, he placed the firewood on top and started the fire. After Li Shao left, Tang Qingqing felt that his feet in the stream were a bit cold, so he carried them ashore. When Tang Qingqing returned, she was holding many green wild fruits in her hand, and I didn't know where third brother picked them. She ate one and almost had her teeth sore. After returning, he handed the wild fruit in his hand to his black sister.in-law and said, "Sister.in-law, the fruits your brothers picked for you are being processed by the creek. They asked me to bring them back to you." Tang Qingqing didn't lie, it's just that Qingchuan said it was for Tang Qingqing and his sister.in-law to eat. Tang Qingqing couldn't bear it, so he gave it all to his sister.in-law. In no time, Tang Qingqing's 3 older brothers and Xianjiu each returned carrying a prepared prey and began to put it on a stick and grill it over the fire. The delicious aroma of the grilled meat came out, and Tang Qingqing touched her stomach. She was hungry. The original owner of this body rarely goes out except for chasing Langyue, and her brothers really care for her, so they take care of her very well. It was because she was raised so well that Tang Qingqing actually touched her belly. She raised her hand and touched her chubby face again, silently shifting her gaze away from the grilled meat. It has been proven that not looking is useless, because even if Tang Qingqing turned her gaze elsewhere, a roasted golden and tender roasted meat still appeared in front of her. There is also a smiling face with scratches on it. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Nighttime Disputes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Nighttime Disputes. Tang Qingqing was happily gnawing on a roasted thigh of a gurgling beast, but in fact, he was unwilling to do so. It was all because Xuanjiu roasted the meat so fragrant and brought it to her, making her refuse a shiny yellow roasted meat that looked like a giant chicken leg. Xuanjiu looked at Tang Qingqing's delicious food and tore off the roasted thigh meat of another gugu beast, handing it to her. However, Tang Qingqing shook his head and refused. "I'll just have a grilled leg, you can eat this one yourself." Xuanjiu saw that Tang Qingqing's roasted leg meat was really enough to eat, so he found a large plant leaf and wrapped the remaining roasted leg meat of the gugu beast and put it aside. His actions caught the eye of the black sister.in-law, and she also really wanted to eat the roasted golden thigh meat of the gugu beast. One is enough for Qingqing to eat, shouldn't the rest be given to her? Why is this male so blind? He's planning to wrap it up and keep it for Qingqing to eat tomorrow morning, as if no one can tell. The thinking of males and females is not on the same channel, and Tang Qingqing's 3 brothers are pleased to see Xuanjiu valuing his sister so much, and each one is even more friendly to him. Only Li Shao was silently eating the barbecue, and no one knew what he was thinking. After finishing their meal, everyone took turns washing up by the creek. Tang Qingqing, like when she arrived, took the animal skin she had laid and covered and came to lay down the animal skin mat in front of Mrs. Black. As a result, the black sister.in-law picked up her animal skin and placed it between Xianjiu and Li Shao. Then, she twisted her big butt and went back to embrace her 3 companions, with a possessive expression, as if after Tang Qingqing had chosen a male, the black sister.in-law no longer allowed her to approach her partner. Tang Qingqing looked at her 3 brothers with her watery big eyes in sorrow, hoping that they would surround her and her black sister.in-law to sleep in the middle, just like when they arrived. But Tang Qingqing's time in the beast world was still too short, and he didn't understand what it meant for females to choose males in the beast world. To put it more clearly, it was like modern brothers getting married and splitting up, changing from one family to 2 families. Originally, every time she used this move in the past 2 weeks, several brothers would help her, but this time the 3 brothers seemed to have gone blind together, one by one shifting their gaze away from her, just not looking at her. Li Shao used his uninjured arm to lay Tang Qingqing's animal skin next to him, looked up and saw Tang Qingqing's unnatural expression in the firelight. He said, females cannot sleep too far away from male beasts in the wild, otherwise they will be injured by wild beasts that come out to forage at night. Li Xiao also explained to Tang Qingqing why he did this. Xuanjiu also pulled the animal skin he had laid to the other side of Tang Qingqing and said to Tang Qingqing, who was somewhat skeptical, "Don't believe it yet. There will be many powerful beasts coming out in the wild at night. Not to mention females, even males can get injured if they don't pay attention. Qingqing will be on her way tomorrow, so go to bed quickly. They didn't lie to you. There are many ferocious beasts in the wild at night, and females sleep too far away from males, which can easily harm them." If others say Tang Qingqing may not believe it, but Tang Qingqing still believes what his brother says. After looking at the animal skins laid on both sides, Tang Qingqing closed her eyes and lay on the animal skin mat, with the animal skin in her arms covering her body. She thought to herself that her brothers were not sleeping far away from them anyway, and these two guys didn't dare to do anything bad to her. So what else was she afraid of? Li Xiao and Xuanjiu saw Tang Qingqing lying on the animal skin mat between them, and their hearts couldn't help but heat up. The two of them exchanged a glance, both lying on their own animal skin mat, and closed their eyes. After Tang Qingqing figured it out, due to a tiring day of running around, even if there were two males lying next to him, it did not delay the salted fish's ability to sleep in seconds. The small snoring sounds so cute in the ears of the two males, while the fragrant scent emanating from the females lingers on their noses, preventing them from falling asleep for a long time. A western crescent moon hung on the treetops in the sky, and the roar of wild beasts could be heard in the distance. Tang Qingqing, who had a modern soul, slept restlessly in the wilderness. She rolled over naturally and rolled over to Li Xiao's side, hugging his arm and rubbing it against his face before falling asleep again. Li Xiao's arm was injured and it hurt a bit from being held by her, but he didn't push Tang Qingqing away. His arm was tightly pressed against her, and every slight friction in his breath made Li Xiao's heart beat faster. "Your arm is injured, let me hold her and sleep, so I won't roll over and touch your injured arm." Xuanjiu's words were righteous and upright, with great righteousness and awe-inspiring spirit. If these words had not been squeezed out of his teeth, it would have been even more convincing. "No need," she held it lightly, and I didn't feel any pain. Xuanjiu was interrupted by a light cough not far away when he wanted to say anything more. The two knew that this was a warning given to them by Tang Qingqing's brother. If they continued to argue about this matter, they would probably have to cancel their status as followers of Tang Qingqing. There are too many male characters in the animal world, and natural rules do not allow females to mate with only one male. Their behavior tonight has already touched the bottom line of all males. Although they were fake followers brought in by Tang Qingqing, her brother and sister-in-law were unaware of it. In the future, they should still pay attention. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Returning to the tribe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Returning to the tribe. After 3 days, Tang Qingqing and his companions finally returned to the Moon tribe. As soon as they entered the gate of the tribe, they encountered 2 males and 1 female walking out of the tribe. The female in the middle has a melon seed face, a pair of watery big eyes, long eyelashes, fair skin, a sweet appearance, a slender figure, and a delicate and lovable physique. Tang Qingqing sat on Xuanjiu's body and couldn't help but sigh, feeling how unlucky she was to come back and meet the female lead of this book, as well as 2 heavyweight males from the Moon tribe. One of them was Lang Yu, the first warrior of the tribe who pushed the original owner onto a tree and killed him. He is truly a male who the original owner has admired for so many years. He is tall and powerful, and his appearance is truly beautiful and unparalleled. If it weren't for Tang Qingqing's memory of the original owner, she would probably have been fooled by this face. She knew how much this male despised the original owner, so Tang Qingqing was immune to the face of Lang Yu. Next to the female protagonist was a slender and handsome male with sharp eyes. He was Tsangming, the son of the tribal leader, a golden orc. Tang Qingqing, wearing this original body, is not very fond of going out, so she is not very familiar with people from the same tribe, only limited to knowing each other, and of course, the same goes for the female lead. When Su Yuxue saw the nine-tailed black-silver fox sitting under Tang Qingqing, her eyes were astonishingly bright. "It's really beautiful, Qingqing, this fox is really beautiful." Su Yuxue's two watery big eyes instantly moistened and she looked at Tang Qingqing with longing, as if Tang Qingqing would shed tears at any moment if she didn't give her this fox orc. Tang Qingqing moved helplessly and gestured for Xuanjiu to put her down. Xuanjiu crouched down and Tang Qingqing slid down from his back. She didn't want to cause trouble for her brothers and black sister. Long after wearing it, otherwise she wouldn't have asked Li Xiao and Xuanjiu to come back and pretend to be her followers for a while. Tang Qingqing knew that the female lead was interested in Xuanjiu's beast body, which was easy to handle, so she crawled onto Xuanjiu's ear and whispered a sentence. Xuanjiu's fox's eyes turned white for a moment. Tang Qingqing smiled pleasantly at him and comforted him by touching his ears. The black fox's ears trembled before instantly transforming into a human figure. "Ah!" Tang Qingqing successfully heard the scream from the female lead's mouth. "So ugly." Su Yuxue saw that Xianjiu's face was covered in scratches, and there were even several serious wounds with blood stains on them. At this moment, seeing Xuanjiu's dignified appearance, the female protagonist had already buried her face in Sangming's arms, unwilling to take a second look at Xuanjiu's face. Sangming saw that Su Yuxue was frightened by Xianjiu's face and looked at them with a sinister expression. "Don't leave yet." Tang Qingqing looked at Xuanjiu's face and disgusted the female protagonist like this. She laughed unkindly and was glared at by Xuanjiu standing next to her. He then threw her onto his transformed animal back and continued walking towards the tribe with Tang Qingqing's brothers. They all seemed to have not heard what Sangming said. Lang Yu turned her head to look at Tang Qingqing and their backs, as well as the two unfamiliar male orcs who had just walked past. These should be the wandering male orcs she had chosen at this big market. "Why do you regret pushing her onto a tree and injuring her, causing her to completely give up on you? Now you have brought back other males." Sangming looked mockingly at Lang Yue. Lang Yue ignored Sangming, his gaze fixed on Su Yuxue with an injured face, his mouth wide open, and without saying anything, he strode out with his legs wide open. If he were to say that when he pushed this female, he was really unintentional, probably no one would believe him. Su Yuxue saw Lang Yu leave like this, tears in her beautiful eyes rushing into Sangming's arms, sobbing softly. Sangming held Su Yuxue in his arms with pity, his eyes gloomy as he looked back and forth at the direction where Tang Qingqing and Lang Yue had left. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Identity Reporting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Identity Reporting. Walking to Tang Qingqing's brothers and Li Xiao in the tribe, Xianjiu turned back into human beings. Qing Shan said to Tang Qingqing and his companions, "Let's go to the leader's place now and report to Li Xiao and Xianjiu. This way, they will become the males of Qingqing in the future, and no one will be difficult for them when entering or leaving the tribe." Tang Qingqing pursed her pink lips and rubbed a stone with her feet on the ground without moving. She whispered, "Big brother, why don't you report it? Wait a while, I don't know if I can get along with them." "What if I can't get along with them in the future?" "Nonsense." Upon hearing Tang Qingqing's evasive words, Qing Shan said to her with a serious expression, "You think in the big market, if you want to bring back wandering male orcs, bring them back. If you want to bring them back, don't. Where do you place the natural rules of the orc world? If females are like you, how can males willingly abide by the rules and not harm females, waiting for you to choose? It is not because there are fewer and fewer females in this animal world that males are willing to abide by natural rules, fearing that their competition will make females fewer and prevent the continuation of orc bloodline. Under no circumstances can males harm females. The weather in the world of orcs is so bad, and hunting in the wild is so dangerous. How can males spare no effort to feed you and prevent you from being harmed? Do they only want to be your female partner and have you give them offspring? Such demands are excessive. Qingqing, you have disappointed me too much. Tang Qingqing didn't expect to be scolded by his elder brother for his one sentence. Upon hearing what his elder brother said, Tang Qingqing felt that he was really going too far. She saw that the male colors in the room were not very good. Li Xiao turned his face to one side, and Xianjiu looked at her with a resentful expression. Tang Qingqing timidly hid behind his black sister. Law, pouting her rosy little mouth, and said in a muffled voice, I didn't say I didn't want them. Big brother, didn't you say you took them to report? Why are they still here? Qing Shan was infuriated by Tang Qingqing's hard work. It wasn't because she said she was afraid of not getting along and would have to wait for a while longer, but now it's his fault. Let's go. At this moment, Li Xiao said in a low voice, Big brother, why don't you listen to Qingqing and report to the leader in a while? No way, the person speaking this time is my second brother Qinghe. He looked at Li Xiao and Xianjiu seriously and said, I don't believe you wouldn't know that unregistered wandering orcs entering the tribe are not allowed to enter and exit casually. And during this period, you belong to the unowned males in the tribe. No matter what kind of females and males bully you, you cannot resist, otherwise you will be severely punished by the tribe. Tang Qingqing's eyes widened in surprise. She really didn't know that there were still such rules in the tribe for unreported wandering orcs. Big brother, hurry up and take them to report. Tang Qingqing knew that if they didn't report in the tribe, they would encounter such serious consequences. He quickly urged his elder brother to report to Li Xiao and Xianjiu to confirm their identities. Qing Shan took them to the cave where the leader lived, and saw other female family members also taking the wandering male orcs brought back from this large market to report to the leader. The leader also hopes that during the first major market every year, more females in the tribe will bring back powerful wandering orcs, so that the tribe will become stronger and not be afraid of other tribes competing for food during the cold season. When the orcs in front finished reporting and it was Qing Shan's turn to bring Li Xiao and Xianjiu to report, the leader of the Moon tribe, Yun Tian, seemed to be deliberately making things difficult and asked many questions. When asked in the end, Qing Shan only looked at him coldly, and the leader Yun Tian Kai agreed to stay with the two of them in the Moon tribe. As Tang Qingqing led Li Xiao and Xianjiu from the tribe towards the cave where she lived, the orcs in the tribe saw her bring back a disfigured male, and another male even covered his face with hair and dared not show it, which did not mean he was even uglier. Li Xiao and Xianjiu heard the orcs in the Moon tribe discussing their appearance in this way not far away, and their faces were not very attractive. Tang Qingqing's thoughts were not here, because the abnormality of the Cloud Sky leader just caught her attention. After returning, Tang Qingqing followed several older brothers and asked if there was any conflict between their family and the leader's family. Tang Qingqing's elder brother, Qing Shan, pondered for a moment before mentioning it. It turned out that Tang Qingqing's father Beast was the former leader of the Moon tribe when he was still less than a year old. In a cold season, the Red Flame tribe suddenly rushed into the Moon tribe to seize the food stored by each household. Tang Qingqing's father Beast, as the leader of the Moon tribe, quickly summoned the warriors from the tribe to resist. According to legend, during the cold season every year, there are tribes that snatch food from other tribes due to food shortages, so they usually just grab food and leave. It is rare for the Red Flame tribe to kill as many strong male orcs as in the Moon tribe. The reason why Yun Tian was able to become the leader of the tribe last month was because many males in the tribe died in that battle. When Yun Tian, the leader of the tribe last month, didn't know why, he was too indifferent to their family and had a feeling of not wanting to see them. The Qing Shan brothers are rarely called to participate in collective actions in the tribe, and they have never shared the prey and materials exchanged for collective actions. The attitude exhibited by the Cloud Sky leader was as if the Moon tribe did not have their family. No wonder the cave where she and her brother lived was so far away from the tribe. It turns out that their family is so unpopular with tribal leaders, even to the point of exclusion and isolation. Tang Qingqing didn't understand why, even though her father Beast was the former leader of the Moon tribe, there was no need for Yun Tian, the new leader of the Moon tribe, to treat her siblings like this after his death. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The control group of being the female lead. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The control group of being the female lead. The cave where Tang Qingqing currently resides is on the same mountain as several older brothers' cave, because he is afraid that if the cave is dug too low, wild animals may enter and it is unsafe. So every cave here is dug very high from the ground, with the lowest being 8 or 9 meters above the ground. Every time we climb up and down, we need to climb a wooden ladder. Tang Qingqing currently resides in only one cave, but they have brought it back. Li Xiao and Xianjiu must give people a place to live. It's not a good idea for a few people to live directly in a cave with the meaning of black sister. In law. Anyway, in the end, they also have to live together, so why bother so much? Several brothers also looked at Tang Qingqing at the same time, as if as long as she nodded, this matter had been decided so happily. Despite Tang Qingqing's resolute opposition, her head and hands were about to break, but her brothers ultimately felt sorry for her younger sister and felt that she needed some more time to adapt. When she found out that there were males around her, she would naturally be willing. Since Qingqing is temporarily unwilling to live in the same cave as Li Xiao and Xianjiu, they are preparing to dig another cave for you to live in. But when digging the cave, several males were struggling again because the mountain where Tang Qingqing and his brother lived was very unsuitable for digging the cave. When there is too much rain on this mountain slope, it is easy for mudslides to roll down from above. Shortly after the deaths of their father beasts and mother, their brothers and sisters were moved out of the best cave in the tribe and moved to live in this cave. For so many years, the Qingshan brothers have been reluctant to interact with the people in the tribe, and there is also this reason behind it. Tang Qingqing has been in this tribe for over half a month now, and he also knows to some extent the coldness of many people in the tribe towards their family. She believes that the environment and atmosphere of the place she lives in are very important. Although she heard that orcs will have a long lifespan after coming here, how can a person's mood improve if they live in a repressed place for a long time? This will also affect the lifespan of orcs. In order for his brothers to live a long life, Tang Qingqing put forward his own opinion. Big brother, why don't we leave the tribe and find a good place to live on our own? No way. Tang Qingqing looked at Qingshan inexplicably. Since living here made them unhappy, why was Big Brother unwilling to leave? Qingshan saw the confusion and doubt in his younger sister's eyes and raised his hand to touch her head. Living outside the tribe with fewer people is very dangerous, especially during the cold season when various tribes lack food and can cause competition from each other. In such a situation, orcs like us who live scattered outside are more likely to be robbed of food by them. This is not the most serious issue. Females without tribal protection are easily snatched by other male orcs. Qingchuan saw his elder brother's helplessness and patted Tang Qingqing's head. Little girl, do you understand now? Tang Qingqing nodded, realizing that she had only worn it for a short time and that many things were solved using modern thinking methods, but lacked understanding of reality. But sometimes it's not something they can stay if they want to. On that day, Tang Qingqing and his family had dinner together with their brother. Black sister. Law was so happy that she didn't care how many more meals she ate at home because she saw that the beastman sister was finally taken care of. Tang Qingqing looked at the innocent black sister. Law with a funny expression on her face, genuinely feeling that she was easy to get along with. Seeing black sister take out the few two pottery bowls, Tang Qingqing felt that Su Yuxue, the female lead, had some skills. She not only made earthenware, but also taught the orcs how to use the Kong to resist the cold here. Tang Qingqing looked at the gray linen clothes on her body. Although they were rough and uncomfortable, she had to admit that wearing them in summer was cooler than wearing animal skins. I grew up here from the female lead and gradually made some modern things. Just by being able to make these things, Tang Qingqing truly admires the female lead's ability. Tang Qingqing really doesn't know why she got into this beast world text. She's not only a salted fish, but also a complete useless person. From childhood to adulthood, apart from lying flat, she hasn't done anything decent. Sometimes she really suspects that she's here to serve as a control group for the female lead, to see how powerful she is and how useless she is. Sigh, I don't think about it anymore. If it comes, let it be. Even if it's useless, she still has the right to live. As long as she can survive, she can definitely live to 200 years old in this animal world and sleep peacefully. End of this chapter.